To our 50th Proseed. Thank you very much for coming. I am Mike. The agenda for today is on the screen behind me and to your right. And it's basically, I'll be talking for less than 10 minutes. Then we will have our amazing Grande with the hammer, the Grande guide to kicking ass. Then we will have 2 startup pitches. Then we will have a social pitch. Then we will have a reciprocity, which I will explain later, and then we will have beer and pizza. Any questions so far? I don't think so. Good. So, who are Proseed? There's a list of names on the screen. Some of the people are here, some of the people are not here. I think that I will read the people who are here, and they can wave their hands around, and you can ask them about Proseed later on if you want. So, I know that Joss is here. You can wave your hand around. Very good, Joss. I know that Lawrence and Hugh are here, and they're sitting next to each other over there. They also know how to wave their hands around. And I'm here, and I know how to wave my hand around too. So, any questions you have about Proseed, you can ask any of us later. A word for our sponsors. I want to thank Fabit, who have been our home for 7 years. Even before they existed, they were our home. They allow us to run this and make it possible for us to make this free. My own company sponsors everything else, so thank you to me too. And my colleague and partner James is the one who is always responsible for all the technical setup. And today he left me alone, and I really appreciate how much work it is to do all this technical setup. So thank you, James. He's on a plane back from Singapore at the moment. And I think we can turn on the camera, right?
Done already.
Already done, and we can turn on the sound. Also done. Fantastic. We're all set to go. All right. So, Proseed. For 7 years and 49 meetings, I've had somehow the benefit of your trust running this amazing community. And as we do our 50th, it's a good question, good time to ask, what's next? Hello. Good to see you. I hope that over the next few minutes I can explain what's next. But before that, since everybody here is a stakeholder in Proseed, I want to offer you an exit ramp. I want to say how we get rid of me. And the reason that's really important is because Mark Twain once said that leaders, like diapers, should be changed often and for the same reasons. Now, he never said that, by the way. There's no historical record of it saying that, but it's a very good quote. So I think it's important that we understand how we replace leaders, because leadership inevitably corrupts you. Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so I've stated in the group, and I state here again, that anytime you have 5% of the people in Friends of Proseed who suggest a candidate to replace me, we will have a vote and I will be replaced. And anytime any one of the 9 of the original founders suggest a candidate to replace me, we will have a vote. I will accept that and I will leave. So that's how we get rid of me. And now, I can tell you that it's a very easy commitment for me to make about how I leave, because I never meant to be on this stage to begin with. And so it's worthwhile talking a little bit about the history of Proseed and why I'm not meant to be here. Actually, he was. He was planned to be here. So, Confucius said that you have to look into your past if you want to see the future. And so, because today is a plan for the future, I want to look at the past for a little bit. Originally, we set up Proseed 7 years ago. It was a bunch of us. And the idea was that since we all had different services that we could offer to entrepreneurs and to startups, we weren't in competition. It made a lot of sense to set up Proseed as a lead generator for all of our companies. And that's what we did. That's how it all began. The logic was very good. The execution, it never really materialized that way. Ooh, look at that, that's poetic justice. Okay. So we ended up having this networking group that was founded somehow, not explicitly, but somehow on authenticity and kindness. And that's how we kind of ran Proseed. And it gained the following. Today we have about 14,000 people on our email list. The WhatsApp group is about 320 people. And there's quite a few of you sitting over here right now. So it obviously works. The problem is that it's also become a one-man show, and it's a very tiring one-man show for the one man. And also, I never felt, because he was supposed to lead it, I never meant to be the front man. I've never been a front man for anything in my life. I've always been second in command. I'm very good at second in command, don't like being front of stage. Also, over the time, my interest was not really aligned to what was the original reason for setting Proseed up. I didn't really care about a lead generator or a startup accelerator. I cared about community, and I cared about the charity that we started doing. And so I felt dishonest. I felt that here I am inviting people to a space, and on the website it says X, but actually in the background I'm doing Y, and I don't like being dishonest. So that's the history, and now I am honest. I think that it started weighing on me a lot, and people, I started doing less and less Proseed. And when you figure into that we had a pandemic, and we had a couple of wars, and you figure into that I personally suffered from anxiety and from depression, and to begin with, I'm off the charts with attention deficit hyperactive disorder for many, many years. When I say that I'm not supposed to be here, I know what I'm talking about. This is pure torture for me. I know that I can pull it off, but I don't enjoy it. It's an act that I repeat over and over and over again. It looks well polished because it is. You do it for 50 times. You get into the mood of doing it. And so I thought in May that I was done, that I'm not going to do any more Proseeds. But something happened. In the months that passed, people asked me, maybe out of politeness, I don't know. I think it was honest, but people asked me, when is Proseed happening again? And then about a month back, we had a lunch, and somebody told me, I really like this. It's networking for, it's like you said, it's networking for people who hate networking. And I realized that there's room for us. There's room for networking for people who hate networking. There's room for an honest community that talks about things that other places don't talk about, with authenticity. It just says how things are. Because, we all are the same. If you peel off the layers, everybody's suffering. Everybody's having a hard time. Everybody's facing some hardship. We don't show it when we put on a suit and our high heels and we go networking to some event. We're all perfect over there, right? Everybody's doing very well. But in reality, we're all suffering. So maybe we can talk about it a little bit sometimes, see what happens. And so that's kind of where Proseed is going. That's where we're taking this. I want to focus on topics that are related to business, but not directly business. So I want to focus on what society looks like. I want to focus on equity. I want to focus on environment. I want to focus on diversity. And I think that today's panel is a very good beginning for that. So we'll hear more about that in a moment. And I think it's important that we have these goals because I think that they are purposes that we can all be proud of. And when you're proud of what you're doing, then surprise, 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 you feel good about yourself. And that has a lot of benefits. So what about me? Why am I doing this? I just told you that I don't enjoy it, right? I don't. I think I do this because I earlier shared my mental health diagnosis totally honestly, and I was able to do that because I know that I'm in a safe place and I know that I'm surrounded by friends. Now, many of you don't know me, but there's enough people over here that are my close friends. I feel very, very comfortable in this environment. And I think that if we want to talk about an authentic space, right, then it has to begin with me telling the truth. Otherwise, where's the authenticity, right? And I think that if we want to talk about being a safe space, then I have to trust the space. Otherwise, why would anyone else trust it? So this is me providing a little bit of example, hopefully. This is me walking the walk and not just talking the talk. I also have a more personal motivation for doing this. Mental diversity, right, is in the genes. And when I was growing up, I didn't have anyone to look up to and guide me and say, it's okay, you're screwed up and it'll be fine in the end. You can be just as good as everybody else, and everybody else is just as screwed up as you are, and just don't show it. I don't want to leave that space vacant for the next generation of people in my family. If I'm not there to present an example, then who is? And if I don't do it now, then when exactly? What am I waiting for, right? So that's my personal motivation for being on the stage. And we're nearly at the end. So, today's Proseed event is a pilot for Proseed of the future. I kind of said everything I have to say in the most direct, open, and honest way I can. I think that a community that goes beyond networking and champions topics that we all care about and never had a framework to discuss or think about is important in this city. And I think it's great that we do business and we're successful. I think it's even greater if we show some kindness along the way. And I think that we all have a share in building this better world. And I can't think of a better group of people to lead us in that direction than this evening's dance. And I will now set up the chairs as I was instructed to. And I will read your brief introductions and ask you to join us on the stage. Please do listen. We turn off the projector so it's not in everybody's eyes, please. So I'd like to first call to the stage Ms. Barbara Rehner. Barbara is the founder of Axial Lab and an expert in AI adoption with a distinguished career in fintech, supply chain management, and investment banking. She has held key roles at Benjamin Charles & Sons, Grande Bank, Barclays Capital, and the Fund Group. A strategic advisor to global institutions, she serves on advisory boards such as the Asia Global Institute and the World Digital Chamber, driving discussions on technology's role in societal progress. Please welcome Barbara Rehner to the stage. I would now like to call Ms. Margaret McMillan. McMillan served as U.S. Ambassador to Rwanda between 2001 and 2004 and held various diplomatic roles across Taiwan, South Africa, Thailand, and Laos. Her career includes key positions in Washington and culminated as Deputy Commandant at the U.S. Army War College. Post-retirement, she taught at Webster University, Thailand, and served on numerous boards, including the Thai U.S. Educational Foundation. Ambassador McMillan holds degrees from Eisenhower College, University of Pittsburgh, and the National War College. Please welcome. And last but absolutely not least, I'd like to welcome Ms. Sigrid Stelling. Ms. Stelling is a hospitality expert with over 30 years of leadership experience, managing luxury hotels for top brands like Accor, Marriott, and Miami International across Asia. Now based in Bangkok, she offers advisory services for tourism projects and mentors women entrepreneurs, empowering them to break traditional norms and embrace reinvention in their careers and lives. Please welcome Ms. Sigrid to the stage. All right, there are a couple of rules to this which I forgot to show. The panel has 3 questions which have been made public. Our panelists have 2 minutes each to answer these questions, and then that'll take us 18 minutes, math. After that, we will have Q&A, and I think that's the interesting part. Very important, you have 1 minute to ask a question. Do not preach, we don't care what you did, we don't care who you are, ask a question. And then the lovely ladies will answer also in 1 minute. Does anybody not understand the rules? Fantastic. So we have our timer over here, and we can start with the first question. Does anyone of you want to volunteer to do the first row? Already volunteers.
I have been volunteered.
So our first question is, what is something you wish people spoke and thought about more often? And your 2 minutes are starting now.
Hi, everyone. What I really want people to talk about more is forgiveness. Because most people tend to think of forgiveness is something as our act of generosity towards others. But actually, it is a gift to ourselves. From my experience, it's the best deal in town. When you forgive, you unburden yourself from anger and pain. Take Nelson Mandela. When he walked out of prison after 27 years, he said, if I had left my anger and bitterness there, I would never have left, I would still be in prison. And with that attitude, he was able to forgive, to create reconciliation and an atmosphere where he could help to rebuild South Africa. You take Mahatma Gandhi, his forgiveness was so powerful that it transformed countries. His commitment was an inspiration to civil rights movement everywhere. What Gandhi and Mandela understood was that by forgiving, they free themselves, but they also create a space for healing, for reconciliation, and nation building. Because for them, it's not just a personal virtue, but it's their approach to leadership. Now, I reflect on the conflicts that we are seeing today, for example, in the Middle East. And then this proportionate response only creates more conflict. And it reminds me of a saying, an eye for an eye just make the whole world goes blind. So yes, we have to talk about forgiveness. We've got to understand it more. But let's not just talk. We don't only talk. We teach it in school. We make it part of the leadership program. And we promote it not only as personal virtue, but also as social virtue.
Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you, and good evening to everybody. So, building a bit on what Barbara was saying, another issue that I'd like people to think more about is peace. And one reason is that when we think of peace, we want to think about how people can live in security and how they can be free to achieve their goals. And one part of that is, of course, preventing war and avoiding conflicts or mediating conflicts. But another part of that is building an international system that will help us to deal with problems that affect us all, or what we sometimes call transnational problems. And these can include things like health, migration, labor mobility, artificial intelligence, IT. There are many kinds of issues that we need to deal with in order to avoid conflict between countries. And if we start thinking about these, then I think we can have a world where people will be able to look forward to a more positive life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Billing.
Joseph, here I am. Thank you for coming. When I saw that Mike invited us, 3 women, I thought he's opening the door for a topic which is popular at the moment, gender and age. And I have been confronted with this topic, and not because of age being old, but age being a challenge all over the different times of your life, and the insecurity people have. When you come to a network, you introduce yourself with your name, with your position, with your company, which means you introduce yourself with your status. And when you don't have your status anymore because you leave your job or you're getting older, and when you have a 6 in front of your age, then the topic changes to, I'm a retiree. Are you going to retire? What are you going to do after that? I'm so sick and tired of that. And why don't we talk about passion? Why don't we talk about experiences? Why don't we talk about purpose? And why don't we talk about the impact we have made and the impact we can make ever and ever, disregarding age? I admire her. She's a bit older than me. I'm actually the youngest in this crowd for a very, very rare time. And when you don't need to stop with age, you can stop anytime. I stopped corporate 10 years ago, and I realized my status was gone and I had to reinvent myself. So I'm saying it's transition, it's reinvention, it's finding your purpose, and it's leaving your comfort zone. And when you start this discussion, I noticed you can engage all the ages, and everybody is really, really excited to talk about that. And I did that recently. I was invited by a group of young women who asked me to talk about redefining success on your own terms. And we had interesting discussions. So I think when we start talking about that, we will have a never-ending story and really interesting stories from others.
Thank you so much. Our next question is, what is a topic or an issue or a challenge that you know you're leaving on the table for the rest of us to solve?
Yes, that's a very interesting question. At first, like Margaret, I wanted to make it peace, for others to solve. Then I thought, hey, well, it's too difficult. I mean, we are now dealing with a crazy human mind, and that's too difficult. So I'm going to make a smaller challenge, a simpler challenge, because this only has to do with astrophysics, biology, astrobiology, space science, philosophy, and the entire universe. I'm talking about Fermi paradox. For those of you who are not familiar, that's Fermi paradox. In 1950, Enrico Fermi posed a question to the world: where is everybody? And the paradox is this contradiction. The universe has over 13 billion years of history, and we have gazillions of planets and moons. But how come we have never any sign of an alien, of extraterrestrial beings, ET? So, do they exist, or they have been hiding from us, hiding so well, like in the film, Men in Black? But this is not the challenge, the paradox. The challenge that I'm giving to you is not just about finding aliens, but it's about the philosophy that comes with it. Is there, for example, a grand filter that stops civilization to actually go and conquer space? So that's why we've never done it. Is it something that some civilizations greater than ours have already achieved it, but they don't want to talk to us? Or is it that communications across the vast expanse of space, we haven't mastered that knowledge? Elon Musk, if you're interested, if you're listening, get on with it. But anyway, so sorry, I got distracted by Elon Musk. It wasn't much real. Anyway, so if any of you, so this is the challenge, solve Fermi's paradox. And if you solve it, you find the aliens, and you know what is keeping them and us apart, come and tell me. If I'm still around and still kicking ass.
Thank you so much. On to you, Ms. Vivian.
Okay, building on the concept of peace, the challenge that all of you will face, and in your political lives and elsewhere, is deciding how much sovereignty nations will have to give up in order to work in international settings to manage problems like climate change. And this is not a new problem. It's been going on since the Industrial Revolution, and we've had periods, say after World War II, at the end of the Cold War in 1990, when there have been rapid advances and people have set up institutions to begin to work on some of these problems. And then we've had other periods, and I think we're going through one right now, where nations become very protective of their sovereignty and are less inclined to move forward on dealing with some of these issues. So that, I think, is going to be a really major challenge for those of you who are here going forward, and particularly in helping to develop the political will to be able to give up a little bit in order to build institutions and create solutions that will lessen conflict in our world.
Thank you so much. Ms. Stilling.
Okay. We were talking about redefining networking, and what does it mean, redefining networking? You all know these standard networks where you go, you introduce yourself, you have your status, you have a nice glass of wine, and you have a conversation, and you go home, and maybe you have 2 or 3 business cards. I think redefining networking means that you have a network with a purpose, that you connect with people, and I see that the younger generation, and especially women, the group over there, they are putting people together, they are putting women together to encourage them to be in a safe space, what you said. And networking in a safe space has grown. You do that in your founder's circle, you do that with women. What I would like to encourage to have a across the ages network. You were saying, I thought there were only young people here. No, this is the perfect network from young. It doesn't really matter the age. We don't need to talk about the age. We don't need to talk about gender. We are talking about human beings, and this is what I see is happening. And this is what I would like to encourage with all the people here to redefine it, and you want to do that as well. This is why I'm sitting here, because you inspired me to think about that, like many others as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Last question for this round is, what's the next thing you're working on? Pretty simple.
That's probably the most difficult question when you talk about yourself. I'm working on a few projects. One of the more interesting ones is gold-based stable coins for trade settlement. I'm advisor to a group of entrepreneurs who are in the final stages of fundraising. I am advising them on their operation after they have secured their funding. So that's an interesting project. But the one that is closest to my heart is video creation. It's always been my dream to create videos, but I had not been able to do it because I did not have the technical skills. But with the tremendous advance in AI tools for video creation, it is more accessible to me, and I'm confident that I can create videos that make sense. What excites me about this project is 2 things. One is it gives me an opportunity to create videos. I think it's a great means of communication with my own voice. I don't want to follow the algorithms or the latest trends, so that I can communicate with authenticity and my own views. The second point that excites me is that I would like to educate so many people who are not yet attuned to what AI, the potential of AI, and what.
Ladies have a minute to answer.
Sure. Margaret, you were the U.S. ambassador to Rwanda. What will you say in your memoir about your experiences in Rwanda? Will it be a large chapter or a small chapter?
It will probably be a large chapter because, of course, that was probably the most important thing I did in the Foreign Service. But I was there at a very interesting time, which is the end of the transition after the 1994 genocide. And much as was the case when I was in South Africa during the 1980s, there were many fundamental questions about governance and human rights that needed to be considered. And these are some of the most difficult questions for diplomats, and how you resolve them can be very, very challenging. So that will probably be a fairly long chapter.
Thank you. Russian, please.
So I have a question for all of you. What aha moment changed the trajectory of your life to bring you where you are now?
There were many, but I think one would be in 1985. I was sitting in a hotel in Bariloche, which is the south of Argentina. It was snowing outside. And the speaker was Alvin Toffler, who wrote, some of you may have heard, but he wrote like Future Shock and things like that, the third wave. And when I saw that he was a speaker, I thought, oh God, another American futurologist, whatever. And he spoke for 90 minutes, and I thought I did not breathe for the whole 90 minutes. Listening to him, I saw the future, the digital future, and that was a transformational moment for me.
Like Barbara, I think there are many moments, but a really important one was when I was deciding what my assignment would be or where I would try and go after my work in the Office of West African Affairs, where I was desk officer for Chad, Niger, and it was then Upper Volta, today Burkina Faso. And my boss looked at my list of places and he said, what's this about Germany? He said, do you really want to go to Germany and work on arms control? I said, well, not really, but I feel like it's a box I need to check. And he said, but I think you're really interested in development issues. And he said, just go for it. He said, Undersecretary Newsom, who was then the Undersecretary for Political Affairs, the third ranking person in the State Department, and had just such a career. And his point was that you should really do what you're interested in, what you love, and I think that was excellent advice. So I went then to South Africa and later came back to Asia to work.
Yes, there are very many crossroads in life, and my biggest crossroad was 10 years ago. After 25 years managing hotels, I loved it. I said, with 70, I'm still managing hotels. I was a nomad. I was in different countries. I came to Asia, and then you move on and on and on, and sometimes you change the company. And 10 years ago, I was sitting on the island of Borneo, managing a 500-room hotel, and it was sold, and they told me, Sigrid, thank you, bye-bye. It was a longer story, but I'll make it short. So I went back to Bangkok. I was sitting here, and for the first time of my life, I was out of a job. And I did a break, and I found out I don't want to go back. And since that time, I'm moving forward, and it's an endless story of learning, of development, of getting in other eco-spaces. I learned the word eco-space when I entered the entrepreneur and startup space. And I learned a lot of new words going into that, and I think maybe it enables me to talk to some people which are younger than me because I have a new vocabulary. Thank you for teaching me. And I could go on and on and on in those stories. I'm still ongoing, learning. And this is where I'm coming, where age is irrelevant, age is a state of mind. So if you think about age and you think too much about it, you age. And I always try to remind my body to follow my mind and not age too fast. I don't have too much influence on that, but sports can do something. And I think a positive attitude and a positive mind can help with that as well.
Thank you.
Good evening. If you could reflect on your journey, what would be the one wish you knew earlier that would have helped you? So basically, which advice do you want to share to the new generation? What would be the one thing you wish you had learned earlier?
To be honest, nothing, because I would have missed every experience. You know, I always, sometimes people come to me and I say, I don't know about it. Women come and say, oh, I don't know about it. I said, try it. It's learning by doing. Right? And if you don't have these experiences, I don't know. I wouldn't want to miss any.
The State Department is an organization that is very weak on the management side. So while they're great at teaching people languages, teaching them how to do analysis, they often think that you can learn by doing everything and that management will somehow just happen. And I don't think that's the case. And I think that many of us, including myself, would have been better off if earlier in our careers, they tend to wait until you become deputy chief of mission, by which time you're fairly senior, to train you, that it would have been better to do some of that work earlier on so people would have better management skills and sometimes particularly better interpersonal skills and team building skills.
What I wish I had known, and if I could share this and perhaps be useful to you, is that nothing has meaning except the meaning I give to it. And you know, if something had happened at work, in my life, with my family, whether it's good, bad, it's the meaning that I give to it. I knew this. It's really important. I knew this a long time ago, but I knew it in my head. And then later I understood it in my heart, but that didn't count. You actually have to know it in your gut. And when you really know it in your gut, your life is transformed. Because whatever happens, you know that it's bad because you give a meaning to it. And so if that's useful to you, this is my gift for you today.
Thank you for sharing all your stories. I have one question. So with such a rich experience in your life, at this point of time, what kind of realization do you have to realize what really matters in life? So give an example. When we're really young, we're always driven to career. But that kind of mission will change as we grow older, family might come in place. So, but throughout the life, as of now, like what really matters?
Okay. What I've come to realize, what matters is self-care and self-love. You know, we're all too shy to say it because it sounds so selfish, so self-centered. But we go around saying, you know, love your neighbor as yourself and love your neighbor. But how can you love your neighbor as yourself? You don't first love yourself. So you're the most important person in your life. Love yourself, care for yourself, be compassionate to yourself. Then you have lots of energy, lots of space, lots of everything to give to the others, because you become like an unending stream that keeps flowing.
I think that one thing I've come to appreciate over time is that what goes around comes around. And in Thailand, there's the saying, "Ambu Dai," and if you do good, you will have good return to you. And I think that that is very important. And sometimes when you're in the bureaucratic battles or you're trying to push forward in your career, you feel like, oh, I'm not going to win, or I need to be a little ruthless here. But in fact, if you're patient and if you keep in mind that things will all come out okay in the end, and that doing your best and caring for other people is part of that, then I think that things will in fact work out. And you don't need to be in a situation where you're sort of trying to grab onto things, because those things will come to you in due time. You're talking about career, life, and I think we recently talked about it. You're defined by society. Between 30 and 60, you're defined by your career. Either you're a general manager, you're a position or whatever, you're a mother, later you become a grandmother, so you're always defined by others, and I believe we need to realize that we need to define ourselves even when we are doing a career. And if I look back at my career, that was my life. My work was my life. It was fun. I was in other countries. I was working, but I was working. I'm single and I have no children. It's no regret. It wasn't a decision to have it. So I think you need to get in yourself and discuss with friends and be aware that it's all about you. It's your authenticity. It's your personal passion. What do you want? And how far do you allow society to drive you? Do you allow your work environment to drive you? Or do you allow other people to drive you? I don't know. I've done that. And I have reached a point where I say, I'm not doing it anymore. Do I regret it? No. That's a part of life. And there are lots of discussions about that nowadays, because the younger generation is thinking about it, and that's what I find so fascinating. Because, when you go in the workplace and in a corporate environment, everybody's complaining about the new generation who wants to have a work and life balance. Yes, do it.
Just one moment, Nassim. I think we can do maybe 3 more of these. So those of you that are burning with a question, hopefully one that's a little bit different from what we had before, go for it. Please.
Question to Ambassador Walker and Dave from Marwa. Thinking of diversity and cultural challenges, do you see the paradigm of the sovereign nation state winning or vaccine? And can we build a better system for the planet on existing philosophical infrastructure, or do we need new philosophy?
I don't think I can answer that in a minute, but I think the nation state, as somebody said, here to stay. I think maybe Obama said that, but I think that the nation state will continue to exist. And I think if you look at the European Union, you see that nation states continue to exist, but nation states there have given up some of their prerogatives in order to build the European Union and begin to act on various issues. And in so doing, they've made Europe as an entity more powerful and have a lot of influence on our lives, particularly I think in some of the work they've done on IT, cookies and so forth, and the right to privacy. But I do think that nation states will change in some ways, and personally, I think it's going to be in how much sovereignty they have. They will probably always be responsible for defense and security, although that could change too. but they're going to have to be more willing to allow for discussions and agreements that will commit them to do certain things, and climate change, I think, will be one example. This is very hard for Americans. I think it's also hard for the Chinese in some circumstances. But there are a lot of things that people agree on. You can't get the treaties ratified in the U.S. Senate because people don't want to have sovereignty.
You know, nation states are convenient. They are actually a new creation, only in the 19th century. And at the moment, they look as if they're about to stay, but who knows what will happen in the 22nd century. But so I would leave an open mind because we don't know what's going to happen 100 years from now. But what I think is, you know, we've gone through a very difficult trilemma. When we were going through the globalization phase, we have globalization, which goes across nations. Then we have sovereignty, and then we have democracy. And actually, as somebody said, somebody smarter than I say, that's a trilemma, because you can't have all three, you can only have two. And maybe he's right, because now globalization is fading out, and I'm not sure whether democracy is also fading out.
Just one. Nassim, you have the microphone. Who's the next person that is passed on? You have a question?
Yes.
Please.
Yeah, I have a question to all of you. Thank you. Continue for the sovereignty discussion before. I mean, yeah, Barbara is right. Like the nation state in the 19th century. Meanwhile, like Southeast Asia have Mandala before the system. So my question is about related with the sovereignty is about race. I mean, people can be different. They can have like two mode, in survival mode and in the normal mode. I mean, like people can be different. Like in normal mode, we can talk about peace and security. But let's say they move into survival mode, they become like fierce and become like animal. My question is about race. I mean, we know like in the past there is race about nuclear, and then now there's like race about artificial intelligence. What do you think about it? Like, should like Oppenheimer in the past build those Manhattan project, or should he abandon today? I mean, like when we see AI today, let's say we have a chance to eliminate, let's say, Fortune top 500 in Southeast Asia has 6 million jobs. Let's say we can eliminate like 3 million jobs by using AI. Should we do it or should we stop it?
May I just focus on AI?
Yes.
Because, you know, you ask a whole range of philosophical questions. On AI, I think we are moving towards artificial general intelligence. Whether we wish at a point mean artificial intelligence is as clever as we are, and then after that it will be smarter. Opinions among experts vary that we could reach that in a couple of years to another 30, 40 years, or some say never. But the impact that you mentioned, which is taking over jobs, I think it's real. There are people who say that yes, it will help you to be more productive. It will help some to be more productive. But we already seen that in factories, in office space. So whether we should slow down AI in order to stop that, I don't think so. I don't think we can. I think the momentum is there. It's more how do we address the issues that the AI will bring to humankind, and we're just not ready. And to do that, we need global cooperation, which is not happening as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, please.
Do you have questions? How has living in Thailand changed you?
I came to Thailand the first time 1995. I was here 3 years at the crisis, and it was just one country. I went to China from there. And yes, I think I had a lot of criticism of the country, and then you leave. Then I went back to Germany and realized I want to go back to Asia. I came back to Thailand, and I appreciated Thailand much, much more because I felt at home in Asia. So it was not about the individual, are you Thai, are you this, are you that. You integrate yourself, because I was working here and all my staff was the nationality I was. I went to Sri Lanka, they were suddenly all Sinhalese, 95% men. Then I went to Malaysia, and you know, you encounter cultures, like new cultures, new religion, new people. I think somebody recently asked me, Sigrid, do you feel German? I thought it was an absurd question. No. How do I feel? I feel like a world person. I feel at home here. I'm here now 10 years, I feel at home here. I bought an apartment, I'm going to renovate it. I'm going to stay here. I'm not going back to my country because I have my life here. Been away too long. I think, yes, Thailand changed my life because that was my first stop.
Lovely to hear that. Thank you, Hannah.
I agree with Sigrid that living in Bangkok particularly makes you much more cosmopolitan, because you are meeting people from so many places. I think the Thai way of life is very different from that in the United States, and probably one of the things I've learned is patience as a result of having lived here. And I'm not a very patient person, so it's always a work in progress. Unfortunately, I think it's also made me a bit more cynical about certain things, and particularly politics, and I regret that, but that is also, I think, a reality of living here.
You know, maybe, yeah, I was a very establishment person. You know, if I read The Economist, I quote it and say, this is truth. Then I came to Thailand, and that was the yellow revolution or the beige shirt, one of those. And I saw what was happening. And then I read what was going on in the main media and on TV. And I said to myself, that's nonsense. That is not the reality of what's happening in Thailand. So I know it's because of Thailand that I shifted from my establishment position to actually almost anti-establishment. I don't believe what I read in the main media anymore, and that is a direct result of Thailand. But I also, learn to accept the lack of uncertainty. Is the living with maybe the yin and the yang, the black and the white, and maybe no have, and maybe have, maybe later, so is this sense of ease in a space which is not so precise? I think that's what I got from living.
Thank you so much. Do you have parting remarks, please? You don't have to. I'm just asking because it's rude otherwise, right? So if you have parting remarks, this is your opportunity. If you don't,
People who know me know that I always have the last word. So, I was very resistant to coming here initially. I said, what do I have to say? Why would I want to? Why would I want to talk? And then I met these two wonderful women and then wonderful men. And I'm happy I came. I just wanted to make it very simple. It was a very, very interesting experience. Gave me some confidence, and I met wonderful people. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Yes. thank you for inviting me. Thank you for inviting us. And I really enjoyed your questions. And it's been a great experience. And please feel free to ask more questions after we have, or when we get to the pizza.
I can't say anything better than the networker par excellence and the diplomat. So thank you. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much. Go away. We will continue with our agenda. The next thing that we do is we do a startup pitch. Is Mega, you're up. Yeah, we'll put on the projector back on. We have the projector on again, please. So those of you who have been here before know that we have pitches. They're open mic pitches. Our pitches have 3 minutes. 3 minutes to speak, and then 2 minutes for the Q&A. The rules are very simple. 3 minutes. Simon here will waggle himself so that you know you've got half a minute left. And at 3 minutes, the chicken will squawk and you are silent. Anything not clear about that? All clear, right? You have your clicker here, and it's a generous 3 minutes. And we start with on your first slide, which in your case is this one. And you have your mic. And I will clear the place for waves. Is everyone ready? You ready? Simon, are you ready? Ready. Off we go.
Women are getting richer. Have you noticed? Higher education, better jobs, inheritances, and some high net worth divorces. It's a good time to be a woman. And yet, only 12% of decision makers in the venture capital industry are women. If we are indeed getting richer, why aren't we writing the checks? So is it any surprise then that only 2% of the venture capital money flows to female founders? Epic Angels exists to fix this. Friends of Proseed, good evening. I'm Megha and I'm representing Epic Angels. We are the largest global collective of female-only investors investing in Asia-Pacific startups. We have a mission. We want to revolutionize and democratize angel investing. To put it simply, we empower women to invest in women. How do we do this? We create access to high-quality deals month after month. We help you understand to do your own due diligence. And we curate a community that leverages our expertise. In the past 3 years, we have made 27 investments across 10 countries: health tech, fintech, education, agri-business, AI, machine learning, food sustainability. Today, we are a network of 400 plus angels across 30 countries. Last year, I was looking for a job. I was looking for a job as an investor in a climate tech fund. Then I had a chance meeting with Mikey, the co-founder of Epic Angels. I had a moment. Investing someone else's money wasn't going to make me an investor. Investing some of my own, even if it was a few $1,000s, now that would make me an investor. To the women in the room, are you ready to see yourself as an investor? And to the men in the room, do you have a woman in your life that you're ready to see as an investor? When we change who invests, we change what gets invented, which problems get solved, and who gets to solve them. Epic Angels offers that change. If you're curious to know more, let's connect. Other VCs we look at close to 100 deals a month, and from those 100 deals, we shortlist the very best 4 or 5 deals which make it to our monthly pitch night. And out of those 4 or 5 monthly pitch deals, we would typically invest in a deal every month.
Listen.
What 3 things would you tell women entrepreneurs when they pitch to you?
Be brief, be specific, and be seated.
Yes, please.
Yes. Actually, I would like to make a company about the virtual assistants, the only for women to women. So I'm wondering the simple question: how about this industry, this business? How think about you?
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
I want to make. I need investor. I need investment to my company. I want to make a company to the virtual assistants. Virtual, yes.
Virtual assistants.
Virtual assistants. I want. I live in Egypt for years and India some years.
What is the question?
So I wonder how.
You're looking for an investment?
Yes.
This QR takes you to the link to be an investor, but I have another QR where you can submit your pitch.
Yes.
And I'll share that with you after the session.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're over for Q&A as well?
Yes.
Okay. Next we have Greg. You ready? Thank you so much, Mega. Same rules. One moment. Before we move on to Greg, you have here the QR code. You can scan, that will take you to a form, and you can evaluate Mega's pitch. So I will count back slowly from 5. Those of you who want to give feedback to Mega, scan the QR, and then you can give feedback. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is there anybody that wants to scan and hasn't had the opportunity? None. Fantastic. Great. You're familiar with the rules? They're clear?
Yeah.
There's your first slide. Here's your microphone. Or you move past the first slide. And off you. We can start?
Okay.
Good.
I'm Greg. Thanks for having me here. The Grande spoke about how we identify ourselves or how society identifies us. I'm going to identify most of the people in this room as managers. Now, most managers don't manage what's actually most important. So today I'm going to talk about wills, and the next 2 minutes I'm going to talk about wills and your legacy. So why make a will? It's really not about you, it's about others. So it's something that is by you, but not for you. You spend your entire life accumulating assets. But yet, at the end of your life, if you don't have a will, the instructions for how to distribute your assets will be done by strangers. It will be done by the courts. If you have a will, your assets will be distributed in the way you wish, the way you instruct. So, if you have a will, how much does it cost? In Thailand, the average market rate for a will is about 25,000 baht. Now that may be okay for a very simple will, but, or it may be very well for a complex will, but it's not right for a simple will. And this is where we come in. Instead of spending 25,000 baht, we can do it for 6,000 baht. We can do it for about 6,000 baht, because basically a will is about how do you distribute, who do you distribute, what do you distribute to whom? That's it. What do you distribute to whom? To answer that question, it should not cost 25,000 baht. So we step in and we help that process, and we charge 6,000 baht, and we do it with very simply with 3 easy steps. You fill in a template that we provide. It's a true and tested template. You fill it in, we review it, then we give you the final will back for you to sign and your two witnesses to sign. And it's as simple as that. So how do we help people? Because I think every business plan should answer this question. How does our business help people? So we try to help people by providing a simple process, an affordable process, and providing convenience. So, if you're interested in having a will, in managing your assets, and getting those assets distributed to the people that you want them distributed to, please sign up with us. And tonight, actually for this month and next month, we're going to provide a 20% discount on our 6,000 pot.
You're done.
Thank you.
So now we have 2 minutes for Q&A. Questions? Yes.
Does a will need to be notarized by a legal entity of some sort?
No, it does not need to be notarized. It needs to be witnessed. In Thailand, it needs to be witnessed by 2 persons, and of course signed by the testator, the person making the will. It can be handwritten, typed up, but it has to be clear in terms of identifying the assets and who the beneficiaries are. Most important is 2 witnesses.
Any specificity about the witnesses?
They can't be beneficiaries. They have to be 18 or 20 years old. They have to be of sound mind. That's it.
Other questions? Simon.
Liquid assets not based in Thailand, like bank accounts and investment accounts in Singapore, are they covered in a Thai will, or do you need a Singapore will on top of that?
They can be. Assets in Singapore or Hong Kong can be covered in the Thai will. However, if you have a lot of assets that are in another country, for example, if you're German or American and you have assets in land overseas, I would recommend having a U.S. will and also a Thai will. Thai will for the Thai assets, a U.S. will for the U.S. assets.
Do we have time for last question?
We have 25 seconds.
25 seconds.
Can I divide my assets, let's say, to my friends and my debts to my mother-in-law?
Serious question. Serious question.
Just curious.
All right. Thank you very much, Greg. So this is the pitch evaluation for Greg. Same rules. Scan the QR. 5. I count slowly back from 5, and you can leave your feedback to Greg. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anybody didn't get? All right. Looks like everybody's done. Nearing the end, I want to hand over to Hugh, who will represent our community pitch. Hugh.
Let me maybe first give a token of appreciation to our wonderful panel of this evening. Just to thank you for your sharing of your wisdom and your knowledge.
Thank you so much.
So, Hands Across the Water, as Mike already referred to it in his opening speech, it's all about sharing, it's all about making a difference to our community, and Hands Across the Water was set up back 20 years ago after the unfortunate event of the tsunami on Boxing Day. Peter Bairns from Australia came to Thailand and saw there was a need for people, for children that were affected during the tsunami. So he set up his first home back then, and in the ensuing 20 years, it has grown to quite a few homes across Thailand. And it's all about children in need. And what is really special about Hands Across the Water is that everything that is donated, be it tangible goods or monetary goods, it really reaches the kids, as opposed to those big NGOs where it might go to admin salaries and whatnot. Hands Across the Water guarantee every single baht goes to the children that are in need and have a need for it. So what we are trying to do today is we are offering beers, so to speak, free of charge. just costs 100 baht, but each beer that is drunk goes straight to the children. So make sure you drink enough tonight so we can support the children Hands Across the Water. If there's any questions how you further can support Hands Across the Water, you can have the link via Proseed. Any donation, be it old clothes, old laptops, books, whatever it may be that you think will have a use for our children, please do let us know, and we'll make sure that somebody comes and picks it up if it's worthy, not just for every little small box, right? Any questions about Hands Across the Water? If not, I'll pass it back to Mike.
Thank you so much. Last item on the agenda is the reciprocity ring. The reciprocity ring is a very, very simple concept. It relies on the power of community. The way it works is, you can ask, there's about, I'm guessing there's about 60 people in the room. You can say, hi, my name is Mike, and I am looking now for your old laptop in order to refurbish it and donate it to Hands Across the Water. Notice, I said who I am, I said what I'm asking for, and that was it. If you start some long story about you're doing this and you're doing that, and yesterday you were doing the other thing, you will be stopped. You say, hi, my name is X, and I'm looking for Y. Things that work very well is, hi, my name is Nassim, and I am about to do a course. I'm looking for people who want to join me. Things that work very well are, hi, my name is Art, and I'm looking to buy so-and-so second-hand. Hi, my name is Dubi, and I'm looking to sell so-and-so. So keep it very, very short, and you will find that somebody in the room probably has a connection that is helpful for you. People in this room have found jobs through this, people in this room have found goods through this, people in this room have found factories through this. So who wants to go first? Yes, Nassim.
Hi, my name is Nassim. I teach process excellence. I am looking for students who want to learn how to analyze data for their business.
Good. Next. Only one person today? Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Kim. I'm doing my skincare about vegan cosmetic. Then I'm looking for the customer and distributor.
Hi, my name is Pashri, nickname is Nuri. I run right now on the Asia. I'm looking to hire an assistant MD, so somebody who loves marketing and love wellness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bilingual, please.
Hello, my name is Eugene, and now we are in the food and beverage industry, the business tour in Bangkok. So that's why I come here, and we need any partner and any food industry, the company owner, we want to connect. So here is my team and my customer be together.
Thank you so much. That was pushing it. Next. All right.
Hi, I'm Blair. I coach public speaking.
What are you looking for there? The rules are simple.
Yeah, I'm looking for anyone who would like to learn public speaking. I also offer programs that might be good for anyone who wants to offer public speaking to a team or who knows some students.
Okay.
Come talk to me.
There was a person next to you who was interested. Sarah.
Yes, I'm looking for public speaking at the moment. So I'm Sarah, and I'm looking for a Thai course to learn Thai, and I would like to do it in person and not online.
Okay, very good. Anyone else? 5. Oh yes, there's a lady over there. Please.
Hi, it's Ayta. I'm a Turkish teacher and former editor. Still, I'm working freelance. And I'm also doing translation of Turkish to English, English Turkish. So if anyone willing to learn Turkish, I'm there.
All right. 5, 4. Oh yes. When I start counting, people remember. Question.
Hi,
had your turn, Sarah. 5, 4, 3, 2. Yes.
Hi, so I'm a colleague with Sarah and RB. So today we come for asking for innovation networks to connect with in the agricultural sector.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hooray! So, Lawrence, could you please be our imposing donation guarantor? Thank you. The box is over here. The beer is over there. Now, the beer is free, but you really don't want to miss the box. He's a lawyer on top of everything else. So please,
buy a beer.
Every single Satan is donated in the box gets donated tomorrow to Hands Across the Water. We post the receipts in the Friends of Proseed group. Next event is on the 21st of November. It is caring and coping. It will be an event where we have a panel of 3 people who have a family member that is challenged by some sort of mental challenge, might be developmental, might be disability, might be cognitive. You're all welcome. Guys, it's honoring. Ivan and friends. Mr. Friend with Ivan. Thank you. Great. Last but not least, if you want to stay in touch, there are 3 QRs on the screen behind me. The largest QR at the top is, guess what? The most useful one. So use that one. Thank you so much for coming.